The core deficit in autism is found in the growth and development of the brain, specifically in the neural pathways that impact dynamic learning, communicating, and thinking. Typically, these pathways form without direct intervention. From a very early age, babies begin to observe and learn through their parents. In the first 2 years of life, babies spend the vast majority of their time watching and interacting with their primary caregivers. It is through this interaction that the foundations for dynamic processing are wired. These important first years give the child's brain the organization needed for reciprocal communication, gray area thinking, flexibility, resilience, and the desire for novelty. Without these developmental foundations, long-term functioning in the ever-changing world is difficult. Deficits in these areas indicate autism. However, continued development of the brain never stops. This means that children with autism can get back on the developmental track and become dynamic thinkers through their parents. At Pathways Treatment Center, we work from a parent-based remediation model to address autism. Our goal is to provide the primary caregivers with the education, support, goals, and strategies to learn how they can change the brain development of their child with autism. The saying goes, give a man a fish and he eats for the day, teach him to fish and he can eat for a lifetime. The nature of dynamic processing requires that it is addressed pervasively. Parents are the natural guides to the child's development. Parents know the child best. They love the child the most. They spend the most time with the child and will be major figures throughout his or her lifetime. The therapists at Pathways team with parents to help them to know how and what to target to develop dynamic thinking. Because the development of dynamic thinking primarily occurs unconsciously, we help the parents to know how to systematically re-expose the brain to the variety of dynamic mental processes involved. The systematic re-exposure is done in the child's natural environment in meaningful, authentic circumstances. It does not take place in a therapy room 1 or 2 times per week. At Pathways Treatment Center, we use consultation, coaching, and videotape review to guide and support parents through this process. Since the brain is an experience-dependent organ, frequent high-quality experiences are vital to the wiring of the necessary pathways needed for dynamic processing. This concept is called remediation, actually addressing and changing the core deficit to the point that it no longer constitutes a problem. In the case of autism, remediation means systematic re-exposure to dynamic processes so that the brain has another chance to develop pathways and collaborations for flexible thinking. Traditional therapies teach the child how to cope with their autism. They give the child strategies to work around the various issues that come with difficulties in dynamic problem solving. While the strategies are very helpful, they do not address the core deficit, nor do they change it. Remediation of autism is not a simple nor a fast answer. It requires a lot of time, energy, and focus. It requires resilience and commitment. In order to engage in a remediation process, parents must have a long-term vision for their child. It takes the marathon and not a sprint mentality. It requires parents to prioritize the available time and resources for the child. And it requires the parents to become mindful of what they're doing through guidance of the child. The parents need to be past the initial shock and disappointment that can come with the diagnosis of autism. They need to be ready to receive guidance on their parenting and communication style. At Pathways Treatment Center, we are dedicated to parents and families of children who have autism. We believe that remediation of autism is possible, and we are prepared to educate, support, and guide parents through that process.